Okay, so let me present the screen first. Is that visible for you all?
Yes,
The
sir.
screen, yeah. The screen is visible for everyone, right? That white screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So let's start writing. Okay. So what we are going to do is like we'll start with sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Okay. So we'll consider this as the first topic, sexual reproduction in flowering. So after completing this class, you will get one PDF. That is, this is going to be the PDF. Okay, and that PDF will be a complete answer bank for you. Okay, so okay, let's start with sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So in sexual reproduction in flowering plants, what are all the topics we are going to study? First, let me mention the topics. First, we'll study what is flower. Okay, then we'll study the male reproductive organ of a flower. Then we'll study a female reproductive organ of a flower. Okay, then after that we'll study about fertilization. Okay, not fertilization, we'll study about pollination. We'll be studying about pollination, and after that we'll study about pollen pistil interaction. Okay, no need to take any notes, I will give this notes for you. Okay, just concentrate here. Okay, pollen pistil interaction. Then after that we'll study about double fertilization. So these are all the topics. Okay, so double fertilization we'll study, and then after that we'll be studying about outbreeding devices. We'll study, and then after that we'll study seed and fruit formation. Is that any topics are missing? Any topics is missing here? Anybody can say? Can anyone say any topic is missing here?
The parthenocarpy.
That all comes under seed and fruit formation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, ma. So first we'll start with our flower. Okay. So tell me, what is flower? What is flower? If I ask what is flower, what do people will say? What is flower? Come on, answer. Everyone. Everybody. What is flower? Okay. Answer me. What is flower?
Reproductive part of plants.
Yes, flower is a reproductive part. Flower is the reproductive part. Okay, fine. So why it is called as reproductive part?
Because it has the male and female reproductive
Exactly,
organs.
because it has male and female organs. Okay, and this male and female organs producing a gametes. This male and female organs will be producing a gametes. Okay, and through the gametes, let's say like male is going to produce its own gamete and female is going to produce its own gamete, and this both gametes will fuse together. Can you tell me what is the gamete name produced by the male? What is the gamete
It's
produced by the
anther.
male? It is anthera, gamete.
Oh, gamete.
Pollen.
Pollen, yeah.
Okay, and female organ will be producing
Ova.
embryo sac. Embryo sac, or we'll say egg. Embryo sac is the gametophyte. Okay, we'll say egg. So what happens, this pollen and egg together will be fused and it will produce a fertilization. It will produce a fertilization with the help of a zygote formation. With the help of a zygote formation, and the zygote is 2n. Okay, so for those people who like don't know, sir, what you are talking, sir, it is like a Greek and Latin for us. uh, so such type of students will also be there for them. Yeah, but First, first we'll draw with the flower. Okay, so let me first talk about a flower. So flower, if we talk about a flower, first the flower has four holes. The flower has four holes. Okay, if I select the holes from starting from the lowermost part, all flowers has a sepal. All flowers has a sepal. Okay, so let's say this is our stem. Okay, and here we'll be having some thalamus. Okay, this is going to be like holding the whole flower. Okay, over that we are going to have a sepals. So let's say this is our sepal. Okay, something like this. Okay, so this is called as sepals. So what is sepals? The group of sepals are called as calyx.
Calyx.
Yeah, they are called as calyx. Then the second hole is petals. Okay, the petals, that is like group of petals are called as corolla. Is called as corolla. Let us draw the corolla here. Okay, so this is our petal, right? Okay, we'll be having the corolla, so that is called as petals, right? And the third most hole is nothing but a male organ, which is called as androecium. Okay, the third hole is called as androecium, which is the male reproductive organ. So let's say like I'm drawing a androecium here. So androecium is having a long stalk. Okay, and the long stalk is called as filament. Okay, the long tube is called as filament. Over the long tube we can see a anther will be there, something like. Okay, over the tube we can see some anther will be, right? Okay, so this androecium together is called as stamen. Okay, androecium is called as stamen. Stamen is made up of two parts. One is anther and another one is filament. Two parts are there. Fine. Okay, then the final most hole is gynoecium. Okay, so this is called as gynoecium. So in gynoecium is nothing but a female part, a female reproductive organ. Okay, so if I draw a female reproductive organ, let's say I'm drawing a female reproductive organ like this. So it is having three parts. Okay, so it's going to be something. So the whole part is called as pistil. The whole part is called as pistil, or it is also called as carpel. So this gynoecium is called as what? This is called as pistil, or it is also called as carpel. Okay, so what are all the parts of pistil and carpel? Can anyone? What are all the parts
Stigma,
of?
style, ovary.
Yes.
Ovary.
Yeah, stigma. The topmost part is called as stigma, and the long tube-like structure is called as style, and the lowermost bulged structure is called as ovary. Okay, inside the ovary we can see some ovule will also be there. Okay, where our egg will be produced. So this is about our hole. This is about our flower. Fine. Okay, now what we'll do is like we'll study one by one part in that. First we'll study about male part and we'll study about the female part. Let's go ahead. Okay. I'm not able to. So let me first talk about a male reproductive organ. First, let's talk about a male reproductive organ. Okay, so what is a male reproductive organ? As of now we have said that is called as androecium. Let me draw a structure of androecium. So this is a long tube-like structure. This is called as filament. Okay, and over the filament there will be a lobe-like structure. It is called as lobe, and remember it is not a single lobe, it is bilobed. Okay, and the bilobed structure is called as anther. Fine. Okay, so here actually a neat question is there. They will be asking a distal part of thalamus and a proximal part of thalamus. There will be a question called as distal part of thalamus and proximal part of thalamus. What does that mean of? What does that mean of distal and proximal? So let's say like I'm talking about the thalamus. What is thalamus? Can anyone tell what is thalamus? What is thalamus? Yes, what is thalamus?
The lowermost part.
Yes, but what it do? The thalamus will do what it do? It holds the complete flower holes. So how many holes I said a flower has?
4.
4 holes. Okay, so this thalamus is only going to hold all the 4 holes of a flower. Okay, so over the thalamus only you can see sepals will be there, petals will be there, androecium, gynoecium, everything will be present over the thalamus only. And near to the thalamus, which part of stamen is there? Near to the thalamus, which part of stamen is there?
Filament.
Filament is there, and that
Filament.
filament is called as proximal region. It is called as proximal region of thalamus. It is called as proximal region of thalamus. Proximal means near to. Okay, and the far region is nothing but anther. Okay, so that is called as distal region of thalamus. It is called as distal region of thalamus. Okay, so now this anther and filament together is called as what? It is together called as androecium. Stamen. Yeah, it is called as stamen. Okay, so usually consider what do this anther will produce? The anther produces what?
Pollen.
Pollen
Yes,
grain.
it produces pollen grains or pollen it will produce. Am I right? Let's consider this anther is sterile. Okay, anther is sterile. That means let's say this anther is sterile. Okay, if it is sterile means they are not capable of, no capability of producing pollen. Okay, no capability of producing pollen, and such type of stamens are called as staminode. Such type of stamens are called as staminode. What does it mean of staminode? Staminode is nothing but a sterile anther. Staminode is nothing but sterile anther which does not have a capability of producing pollen. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's say like I'm giving another one neat question. Okay, so let's say I'm having a leaf. Let's say I'm having a leaf, not leaf. I'm having a petal. Okay, so this is one petal, this is one petal, something. Okay, let's consider this is a petal. Okay, over the petal, sometimes over the petal a anther will be present. That means androecium part will be present over the petal, and such type of petals are called as, over the petals there will be androecium, and such type of androecium are called as, such type of androeciums are called as, yes, any idea? No? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, sir.
It is called as epipetalous. It is called as epipetalous. Okay, that means androecium which is present over a petal. Now earlier what I said, androecium which is present over a thalamus. Androecium which is present over a thalamus, it is called as stamen. Androecium which is present over the petal, it is called as epipetalous. Are you people able to find the difference? What is the both difference? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Everyone? Why I'm getting one answer from Vinay? What others? Yes or no?
Yeah, sir, got it.
So let's say like I'm having another one way. I'm having another way. Okay, so today I'm having a petal. So let's say this is our petal. Okay, and I'm having a sepal also. Okay, so this is my petal and this is my sepal. Okay, so in few plants, in few flowers, both will be fused together. Petal and sepal both are fused. That means like they are joined together, and it will be something looks like this together. Okay, it will something looks like this. Okay, so they are called as tepals. They are called as tepals. Okay, fused petal and sepal is called as tepal. Fused petal and sepals are called as tepals. Over the tepal, an androecium will be present, and such type of androeciums are over the tepal. Let's say one androecium is present, and such type of androecium is called as epiphyllus.
Epitapala.
Epiphyllus. No, there is no epitapallus. It is called as epiphyllus. Okay, va? This is all
Okay,
three important major questions repeatedly asked for your anther based question. Okay, epipetalus, epiphyllus, and stamen and staminode. Getting my point, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Okay, fine. So now we got to know what is anther, what is filament, and everything. Let me go in deep into anther. Let me go in deep into anther. Let's say yeah. So I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about the cross section of. I'm going to talk about cross section of anther. I'm going to talk about cross section of anther. Why should I talk about cross section of anther? Yes. Anybody? Why should I talk about cross section of anther? To study how pollen is going to be produced. To study
Arrangement
how.
of pollen.
Yes, yeah. So to study how the pollen is going to be produced from anther. So let's say like I'm having an anther. So this is the anther, right? Okay. How much lobe it is? How many lobes are there in anther?
Bilobe.
Yes,
Bilobe.
they are all bilobed. Okay, that means two lobes are there. Am I right? So I'm going to cross. I'm going to cut the lobe. I'm going to cut the lobe. So I will be getting something like this. This is one lobe. Okay, and this is another lobe. One lobe, and I'm going to get another lobe. Fine, I'm just cross sectioning it. Okay, so this is a lobe number one. Okay, and this is another one lobe. Fine, remember one thing, all this both lobes are divided by a theca. Okay, this is all divided by a theca. So let's say it is divided something like this. Okay, it is divided something like this. Okay, so what happened, you consider this is as one theca, this as one theca, this as one theca, and this as one theca. Theca is nothing but layer, guys. Okay, as biological term, theca is nothing but layer. So consider how many thecas are there in anther.
4.
4 thecas are there. How many lobes are there?
2 lobes.
2 lobes. So remember, anther is bilobed and 4 theca is present. Remember, each theca carry one microsporangium. Each theca carry one microsporangium. Okay, so I'm going to give the names for all this one circle. It is called as microsporangium. Don't worry, the names may be bit difficult early, but when you keep studying, you will get to know that. Okay, so I cross sectioned it and I could see 4 microsporangiums are there in an anther. Okay, now this anther is filled with this anther. All these microsporangiums are filled with a tissue. All these microsporangiums are filled with a tissue. What is the tissue name called as?
Porogenous tissue.
Yes, they are all called as porogenous tissue. It is a tissue. Okay, so the tissue name is called as porogenous tissue. Okay, fine. So now this tissue, like what's tissue? Tell me what's tissue? How the tissue will be produced?
Group of cells.
Yes, it has group of cells. So let's say it is all having group of cells. Okay, this tissue is all having group of cells. This is one cell. So multiple cells are there. Okay, so remember, each one cell is called as 1 mmc. Each one cell is called as 1 mmc. What is mmc?
Microspore mother cell.
Yes, it is called as microspore mother cell. Each one cell called as microspore mother cell. Okay, in your NCERT, you may be getting one question like difference between microsporangium, microsporangia and microsporogonia. Have you heard of these words? Huh? Yes or
Yeah,
no?
sir.
Microsporangia means all four thecas have one microsporangium, right? All together. So let's say like how to say? So this is one microsporogonia. Microsporogonia. This is one microsporogonia. This is one microsporogonia. Okay. This is one microsporogonia. And this one is one microsporogonia. So all this is together called as microsporangium. Microsporogonia. Okay, so we have four microsporogonia. They are all together called as microsporangium. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
microsporangium means four microsporogonia is called as microsporangium. Okay, now the thing is that microsporogonia, what is the meaning of microsporogonia? The meaning of microsporogonia is nothing but a reservoir of pollen producing cells. Pollen producing. Microsporogonia is a reservoir of pollen producing cells. That means from here only you are going to get pollen. From here only you are going to get pollen. Okay, so if you study like let's say like for example in male, for example I'm saying in male there is a part called as testis. Okay, in a male there is a part called as testis. Okay, inside the testis you can see a place area called as spermatogonia. There is a space called as spermatogonia, and from this area only, what is spermatogonia? It is the reservoir of sperm cells. From here only sperm cells are going to be produced. Same like that, in a plant there is a microsporogonia which is called as reservoir of pollen producing cell. Is that clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
this is a reservoir. That means it is going to be there naturally in your body. It is going to be there naturally in a plant. Okay, which is a storage area. Okay, that storage area is filled by a tissue, and the tissue name is called porogenous tissue. Okay, that tissue contains group of MMCs. Many more MMCs are there, and that MMCs are nothing but microspore mother cell. So from this one microspore mother cell, we are going to study how this one micro mother cell is going to produce pollen. Yes, are you getting the flow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, everyone, Harini, yeah,
Yes, sir.
Ruchi? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Hmm, you have started very late. Just a minute. So I'm going to.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Bona. You are very late, Bona. What is the time now? 8:12.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, don't worry, from next class don't come late. Okay, chalo. Now we are going to study the process is called microsporogenesis. The process is called as microsporogenesis. Okay, microspore, it is nothing but microspore. Genesis means production, producing. Okay, producing. Genesis means producing. That means this process is nothing but producing microspore. What is microspore? Microspore is nothing but pollen. Okay, microspore is nothing but pollen. So that means what is microsporogenesis? It is a pollen producing process. It is the process which undergo pollen production. It is called as microsporogenesis. Okay, so from where it is going to start? It is going to start with an MMC. Yes, what is MMC?
Microspore.
Microspore
Yes,
mother
it
cell.
is called as microspore mother cell, right? Okay, so what is the ploidy of MMC? What is the ploidy of MMC? It is haploid or diploid? It is diploid. Remember, always MMCs are diploid. Okay, so if it is a diploid cell, what happened? It will undergo meiosis. Remember, if you don't know cell division also, no worry. Okay, remember, first meiosis 1 will take place. Meiosis 1 is called as reductional division. Meiosis one is called as reductional division. Reductional division means what? This 2n is going to divide into n and n. Is that clear? Meiosis 1. 2n is going to be
Yes,
divided
sir.
into n and n. And remember, this both n is going to be connected by a connective tissue. That means like a cell is not completely divided, the MMC is not completely divided, only karyokinesis is happening, division, meiosis is happening, okay, and the connective tissue is still available. This is called connective tissue, right? Okay, so now further second meiosis 2 will happen. Meiosis 2 will take place, okay, meiosis 2 will take place. That is called as equational division. It is called as equational division. So how many n will get? How many haploid cells will get?
2 haploid cells.
Two haploid.
Two more haploid cells will get, right? So let's say already I'm having 2 haploid cells. I'm adding even 2 more haploid cells. Okay, so all are going to be still connected with the connective tissue. Still they are all connected with the connective tissue. And this structure is called as what? What is the structure called as?
Sporangi.
Oi, tetrad. Heard it all? Heard? Tetrad?
Yes.
This
Yeah,
is
sir.
called as tetrad production. That means, remember, from 1 mmc, see where we started from? We started from a microsporogonia. Okay, we started from microsporogonia, right? Okay, so microsporogonia has a sporogenous tissue. Microsporogonia had a sporogenous tissue. That sporogenous tissue contains group of MMC. From that we have taken only 1 mmc. Okay, and that 1 mmc undergo meiosis 1 and 2. End of the moment we are getting a tetrad. Okay, so this is our tetrad. Fine. So that means, see, this is one pollen grain. Okay, this is one pollen grain, and this is one pollen grain, and this is one pollen grain, and this is one pollen grain. So how many pollen grains we are getting from 1 mmc?
4 pollen grains.
4 pollen grains we are getting from 1 mmc. Remember, pollen grain is called as gametophyte. It is called as gametophyte of male organ. It is called as gametophyte of male organ. We haven't produced gamete till now. Okay, we haven't produced gamete. What is a gamete? What is a gamete? From pollen grain, what will get?
Pollen.
Yeah, from pollen grain we are going to get pollen. Sorry, from pollen grains we are going to get pollens. So that means this is one pollen grain, this is one pollen grain, this is one pollen grain, and this is one pollen grain. So inside that we have n number of pollens. Inside that we are going to have n number of pollens. Inside that we are going to have n number of pollens. But still remember, the pollens are immature. But remember, still the pollens are immature. So I have to first feed them. Okay, so to convert the immature pollen to matured pollen. So that process I'm going to enter now. Okay, I'm going to enter into that process. So for that, what I do is I will be creating some layers. Okay, I will create some protective layer. Okay, let's say I'm talking about the tetrad. Okay, tetrad, inside tetrad pollen is there. Okay, but it is a immature. The pollen is in a immature form. Okay, so this immature pollen I'm going to convert into mature. Okay, so for that, what I will do, let's say I'm having a tetrad. This is my tetrad. Okay, inside that is there. Inside the tetrad, what is that round shape?
Pollen
Pollen
grains.
grains.
Yes, pollen grains are there, right? Okay, so now remember, inside the pollen grains, first you have to feed. I have to nourish them, right? I have to give nourishment. So for that, I'm having a layer called as tapetum. Over the pollen grains, I'm going to have a layer called as tapetum. Okay, I'm having a layer over this. So that layer is called as tapetum,
Tapetum.
or you can also say tapetum. Most people say like that. Okay, but it's tapetum. What is tapetum? It is going to act as a nourishment. It is going to act as a nourishment layer. Okay, it is going to nourish. Nourish means nutrition. It is going to provide nutrition to pollen grain. It's going to provide nutrition to pollen grain. Okay, fine. So when the nutrition is happening, some three protective layers are going to protect the complete pollen grain. Okay, who are all they? First, let's say I'm having one layer, one inner layer. Okay, and that layer is called innermost layer. Okay, the innermost layer is called as middle layer. The innermost layer is called as middle layer. Okay, don't confuse it. The innermost layer is called as middle layer. And what is the middle layer called as?
Endothecium.
Endothelium, and the middle layer is called as endothecium. So this is our middle layer. It is called as endothecium. Is called as endothecium. Okay, this is called as endothecium. So endothecium is the middle layer. It is a middle layer. Okay, and there is one outermost layer. What is the outermost layer called as?
Epidermis.
Epidermis.
Epidermis. There is an outermost layer which is called as epidermis. Okay, all these three layers are going to protect the pollen grain till maturation. It is going to protect till the maturation. So this is the outermost layer. Okay, so remember all the layers. Total 4 layers are there. One is the nourishment layer, another one is innermost, middle layer, and outermost. The nourishment layer is called as tapetum. Okay, and the middle layer is innermost layer is called as middle layer is called as endothecium, outermost layer is called as epidermis. Yes, don't confuse. Okay, so the whole structure, all pollen grains are going to be protected by 4 layers. All pollen grains are going to be protected by 4 layers. Remember, there will be one important question asked from tapetum. This tapetum will be having a kind of improper structure. The tapetum will have an improper structure which is called as U-bish body. This tapetum will have a improper structure because see, the whole pollen grain may not be covered also. Very few pollen grains, they will have tapetum only in one corner. So like that also it is there. But anyway, the tapetum role is to nourish, to provide nutrition for the pollen grain. So they are called as U-bish body. Fine. So now consider all these protective layers are protecting our pollen grain. By the time inside pollens are all matured, pollens got matured. Okay, now consider now the pollens are getting matured. Okay, pollens are got matured. Fine. Now once the pollen got matured, that has to come out of the protection layer. It has to break all the protective layer and it has to come out. Okay, and that breaking down process is called as dehiscence. Remember, all these layers are going to be broken down. Okay, all these layers are going to be broken down. Okay, by the process called as breakdown of all 4 protective layers. All 4 protective layers, and that process is called as, anyone? What is the process called?
Rejection.
Dehiscence.
Called as dehiscence. So let me write here. The breakdown of all 4 protective layers is called as dehiscence. Okay, so dehiscence is nothing but breakdown of all protective layers. I don't know the spelling. I don't know whether it is correct or not. Obviously, it is not correct. Okay, dehiscence. So once the dehiscence is done, so the pollen grains are going to come out. Okay, so now the pollen grains are coming out from the pollens are coming out from the pollen grain. Okay, and this is called as pollen shower. You know why it is called as pollen shower? Pollen will not be released one by one. It will be released at a stretch. Okay, whatever the number of pollens, like hundreds and thousands and millions of pollens will be there, all the pollens will come out of it, break all the protective layers, and it will come out from the pollen grains, as a shower. So why? Because you may able to see some yellow color waves, like in when you are I don't know whether you people been in the farming land or not. Okay, if you are having a farming land of you, if you have seen a farming land where this flowers are there mostly, okay, so that area you may see some yellow color waves will be there. We can see actually, like with our naked eyes itself, we can see some yellow color waves will be produced near to the plants and all. Okay, so that wave is nothing but pollen shower, because the pollens all together are burst out and they are like moving on the atmosphere. It is all moving in the atmosphere, and now they are trying to reach the female part. Okay, so that is called as pollen shower. So remember, pollen will never release one by one. They all will get burst out, and that is called as pollen shower. Fine. So now this pollen is produced, and the whole process is called as microsporogenesis. Yes, pollen is produced. Is that clear how the pollen is produced?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Pakka, from the starting, from sporangium to full pollen. You are clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, done.
Yes, sir.
Now let's see some advantages of the pollen. Let's see some advantages of the pollen. Okay, this pollen is going to be act as a supplement. Okay, this is going to act as a supplement. Okay, usually the athletes are there, right? So these athletes, they will use this pollen as a supplement material. Okay, they use this as a supplement material to get high energy, to get horsepower. They call it as horsepower. In our bike and all, we say, na, what is the horsepower of this bike? That means how much fast it will run. So that means like these athletes, they have to run for a long time. Okay, and they need energy. For that, they use this pollen as the supplement. But there is another one disadvantage also. There is another one disadvantage also. This pollen mostly they causes allergy. Okay, mostly they causes allergy, and it also causes asthma. It also causes asthma. Remember, asthma is not a disease, it is a disorder. It is a allergic reaction. Asthma is not a disease, it is an allergic reaction. Okay, so don't consider asthma as a disease at all. It is an allergic reaction. Okay, it is an allergic reaction. So all these things are the disadvantage of the pollen. Okay, once the pollen is released from a plant, once the pollen is released from the anther, the pollen has its own viability. That means it will be active only till the pollen, after breaking all the dehiscence and everything, the pollen released, right? Pollen released from the tetrad will be released from the tetrad, but it will get the viability only for 30 minutes. It will get viability only for 30 minutes. That means before that 30 minutes, it has to reach the female part. Okay, it has to reach the stigma, or else what happens, the pollen will die. Okay, so that is the reason, another one reason why pollen shower is there. Okay, that is another one reason why pollen shower is produced, because say consider like a plant is producing only one pollen at a time. Okay, so if the pollen is not going to stick over the stigma within 30 minutes, so do you think pollination will happen?
Of course not.
No, not possible, right? So because the viability is only 30 minutes. But let's consider I have a plant in US. Let's say I'm having a plant in US and I like the variety of the plant. Okay, and I want to invade that plant in India. I want to invade the plant in India. Okay, so what can I do? I can either plant the seed in India, I can bring the seeds and I can plant here. Okay, or else I can do some pollination also. But how to do pollination? Because the viability of the pollen is only 30 minutes. Okay, is that possible for me to bring a plant variety from US to India? Yes. Two options are there, guys. Like one thing, I can bring the seed, I can put it on the ground and I can get a plant, new variety of US. But I don't have that option. Let's say I can do only pollination. So how can I do pollination? Because I cannot bring the pollen within 30 minutes to India, right? But still I want the variety to be invaded in India. That time what will I do? Yes. do that time?
Like pollen bank.
Pollen bank. Pollen bank, they are to store the pollen, right? But how can I store the pollen?
Sir, adding any chemicals?
No. There is a condition called as frozen pollen. There is the condition called as frozen pollen. So what I will do is I will freeze the pollen. Okay, that means with the help of a liquid nitrogen.
Cryopreservation, sir.
Yeah, cryopreservation. Okay, I will use a liquid nitrogen. The temperature of liquid nitrogen is minus 196
Minus
degrees
196.
Celsius. Yeah, so minus 196 degrees Celsius is the temperature of the liquid nitrogen, right? So in that temperature, I'm going to freeze the pollen. So once I freeze the pollen, so what happened? The pollen will become metabolically inactive. It will become metabolically inactive. Okay, if it is metabolically inactive, that means they are alive, but they are not active. If they are alive and still they are not active, that means I'm arresting the viability. Of the pollen. And okay, from US I'm coming to India. Okay, and now what I will do? I will defreeze the pollen. With the help of removing the pollen from liquid nitrogen. I will take it in a box. Okay, that box contains liquid nitrogen. Okay, now I don't want that pollen to be in a frozen condition. I will defreeze the pollen, so that once I defreeze the pollen become metabolically active. The pollen is metabolically active. So if it is metabolically active, so that means now what is the viability time? How much viability? How much time it will be viable?
30.
30
Yeah,
minutes.
now it will be viable for 30 minutes. So within that 30 minutes, I will invade it into the female part. Okay, I will bring it into the female part of the plant, so that pollination is done. And so the whole process is called as, that means preserving a pollen grain for a long time, and the process is called as cryopreservation. It is called as cryopreservation. Okay, cryopreservation. This cryopreservation is done with the help of liquid nitrogen, and the temperature of liquid nitrogen is important. Oh my god. It is cryopreservation. Yes. So microsporogenesis is clear for you all.
Yeah, sir.
Pakka?
Yes, sir.
Pakka? I
Yes, sir.
no doubt in cryopreservation now. Okay, cryopreservation is done and microsporogenesis is also done. Okay, now the pollen is ready, and next we have to go and prepare female part. Okay, so female part has to get matured, right? Then only this pollen can go and invade on the female part, and that process is called as megasporogenesis. Should I do now or will do in the next class? Your wish is my wish.
Class, next class starts from 9 to 11, sir. Please.
You have to learn.
Yeah, sir. I told you before, na, sir.
Oh my god, then
Again,
when you girl will sleep?
then I have to complete my homework. Then I don't know, sir. Like